Hello everyone and welcome to All Things Watched. In this video we are going to talk about the brand new horror slasher movie simply titled Thanksgiving, and this movie had me a little excited just because of the director. It was done by Eli Roth, who of course is known for his horror movies. His movies and films are oftentimes in the horror genre, such as Hostel. He did Grindhouse, Cabin Fever, and of course he's also dabbled in some action movies as well, such as Inglourious Basterds, which was probably one of his more successful runs in the movies and whatnot. And so I was pretty excited to see this one, Thanksgiving, just because he was the director. So this movie mainly starred Patrick Dempsey, of course best known for his role in Grey's Anatomy, and of course Ty Olsson, Lynn Griffin, Gina Gershon, Karen Cliche, I believe is how you pronounce her name, or Klish, Nell Verlag, Rick Hoffman, and so many other great actors as well. And essentially this movie, well, just like the name says, Thanksgiving, it really takes place around that time of the American Thanksgiving. Now, I personally am Canadian, so for me, Thanksgiving really is in October, so this movie takes place in November, but still you get the idea. It takes place around Thanksgiving. And one thing I can say about this movie that was something that I was actually a little bit surprised about with this movie was that they actually did a really good job at sort of making like this real life, or this movie almost like a parody to capitalism in the real world, such as some things like Black Friday, because when this movie first opens, it opens with the sales and everything going on with Black Friday, and then of course we see people actually get killed trying to get into, get their savings, get their sales, and get, some of their, whatever items it is that they're after. People are going in there trying to get it very cheap and on sale during these Black Friday sales, and so I really liked how the movie really played into that and sort of acts almost like a parody to real life in that sense. Now, in terms of the actual story, it's not really anything that's crazy or complicated. I would say the story in this one is probably very similar to another movie that we just recently watched, or recently reviewed on the channel, which was called The Conference, which was, I think, a Netflix original movie. So it was kind of a lot like that, whereas, something happens at the very beginning of the movie during this Black Friday sale, which they don't really reveal until the end of the movie, but, is not really... I'm not really ruining the movie or spoiling the movie by telling you that, the reason that everything that happens in the movie, the reason why the killer sort of goes on this rampage and sort of goes around slashing certain members of the town, is because of the events of the Black Friday sale that the movie opens with. Now, I will say in terms of performances, I thought all the cast did a great job. They did, I think they all did a really good job with what they were given. Like I said, the writing was nothing complicated. It's not a crazy, intricate story that's going to blow your mind. It's probably not even a movie that you may even watch more than once, but it is a fun movie. It's a very entertaining movie. I thought a lot of the kills and the slashing was actually quite creative and very brutal. The movie was much more brutal than I expected it to be. Once again, kind of like The Conference. Like I said, we reviewed The Conference on the channel, and The Conference ended up being much more gruesome and brutal and bloody than what I was expecting. Well, this movie is sort of like that as well. Thanksgiving, it's very gory. One kill in particular that I will mention, which is kind of a spoiler, I guess, but not to the point where it will actually ruin the story or the movie for you. But one way that somebody gets killed in this movie, which I thought was pretty brutal, was that the person actually gets cooked alive like a turkey, and is actually the body is literally served on a platter, just like, what you would see at Thanksgiving. So, a lot of the times when the killings were happening or the slashing was happening, it oftentimes was very relatable to Thanksgiving itself. And that's essentially really is all the story is about. There's this opening scene with the Black Friday sales. A whole bunch of people gets hurt and I think even killed as well. And then of course sort of where the movie takes place from there. That's basically sort of what sets up the events and leads to the events of this whoever it is going around killing people. It all happens because of this Black Friday sale. Now, I will say too that the movie was not as predictable as I thought. Now, I'm usually hit or miss with movies. Sometimes I'm really good at predicting. Sometimes I'm not really good at predicting. And this is one of those movies where I made a prediction and I was actually wrong. So that's actually a really good thing. It's good for you not to know what's going to happen next in the movie. And so I was able to really appreciate that. I appreciated the fact that I made a guess and I was wrong. The killer who I thought it was, it turns out that it wasn't who I thought it was. Now, I will say, when they do reveal who the killer is, it was still someone that was, you know, in my ballpark. I would have probably had that person as my second or third guess, but it wasn't my first guess. It wasn't quite who I thought it was, but I did think that maybe it was a possibility. But they do a really good job at sort of keeping the killer covered up and keeping the, you know, the true killer sort of, you know, under wraps. And they do a great job at leading towards certain ways and alluding towards certain ways. And I will say also that a lot of the kills were very, not only were they very graphic, but they're also the type of kills that almost make you want to like squeamish a little bit. It's almost like you can feel what's happening. Like there was another kill that happens in the movie that involved, all I'll say is that it involves a trampoline, and like when that scene was playing, I thought, you know, it kind of almost made me feel, I could almost feel what was happening, and it was maybe really squeamish sort of. So you know, the movie did a really good job with that. It does a really good job with the creativity of the kills. It does a great job at keeping the main nemesis sort of under wraps for a majority of the movie. And all in all, I thought the performances and everything were done very well. It's just like I said, it's one of those throwaway movies where the writing is nothing special, nothing complicated, but it is an entertaining movie all the same. If I had to put a number on this one, I'd probably give this one, I think probably a 65, just because, like I said, I could appreciate the kills and whatnot, and I liked how they played into the Thanksgiving scene. I liked how they played into the capitalism and the Black Friday sales and that sort of thing, and so I really enjoyed that aspect of it. So I have no problem giving it a 65%. I don't think I would go any higher than that, though, just like I said, because of the lack of story, and I never really truly felt emotionally connected to anyone in the story. But at the same time, this is not really the story, you know, it's not that type of story that you're going to be overly connected to anyone just because of the circumstances of what's happening. But anyways, folks, that's my review of Thanksgiving. Let me know in the comment section below if you've seen it, and if you'd like to tell me why or why not. If you like this video, click that subscribe button, and until the next one, take care.